Hi, Julie Torrance here. I've got 2 sheets of my Amazon Basics watercolor paper, and it is a cellulose paper. I've got a handful of brushes. I've got my Daniel Smith watercolor paints, not because I needed professional, but, and you can see, because I know that they have a lot of colors that are very transparent. And I want to do some flowers because I want to get ready to make another printable. I've got 2 containers of water and I've got some paper towels. So when you hear me say dab dab, that means I'm just dabbing my brush on my paper towels. And I can't get all of the paint in here. I just wet my brush. I can't get all of the paint and everything showing when I'm working with you, because then this is too far away, in my opinion. I'm going to make some flowers, and I'm just going to make an all-over sheet of flowers. I'm going to start with just making some circles because I tend to make flowers and I don't keep track of where the center is, so that helps me. And I just used a regular pencil. All right, I've got my number 6 Princeton Snap, and I'm going to just start with the dots, and you've seen me do that before. So I'm going to pick a pinkish color, and I'm just going to go dot, dot, dot. I'm rinsing my brush, dab, dab, and now I'm going to bring it out. Kind of a squarish leaf or petal. Just like that. Now I didn't go back into the water, so this one might be a little darker. That's fine. And a little more water. Dot, dot. And there we go. So why do I pick Amazon Basics? I'm used to it. So that's one thing. I just put my brush in the water, just the tip, and I'm back in that same pink paint. 1, 2, 3. Rinse, dab, dab, no more color. Way too much water. Way too much water. That's okay. It'll just give it a different look. And again. And you can see these are not uniform. They're not designed to be. I just put the tip of my brush in the water. Dab, dab, dab. Rinse, dab, dab. Again, there's an awful lot of water I got going on here. That's all right. I want these to look watery because I want them to be more transparent. Now I'm going into that same pink just with the tip, and I'm going to start with this one and just put a couple dots right near where the center of the flower is going to be. These are the driest, so it'll probably migrate or bloom or blossom a little bit less than the others. That's okay. All right, I'm going to leave those alone, but I'm going to make some smaller ones. And let's put one here, here, and maybe here. Okay. And I've got on my tray kind of an orangish color. Do I want to do that? I want yellow. And this is not this one. This is my Rosa Gallery, because can you see my cadmium yellow is so low, and I just wanted to be sure I'd have enough yellow. So brush is loaded with yellow. Dot, dot, dot. Rinse, dab, dab. I've got so much water at the top. I'm just take some off. And these are going to be a little bit smaller. I don't know why. Just what I'm in the mood for. And I'm hoping, I just picked up some more paint. Rinse, dab, dab. I'm hoping that this isn't so much a tutorial, but a paint along with me kind of thing. But I haven't put out a watercolor printable in, I think, a year. I'm rinsing my brush, dab, dab, picking up some of that yellow paint. And that's for various reasons. But my watercolors are on PM Artist Studio. I've licensed with them. And I want to get some more watercolor printables out there. I will link there. I always link my watercolors that are there. Okay, with those yellows, I think I am going to go into, I don't know if you saw this orange. That's why it's not that I'm so sloppy and I don't care about having a clean palette. These paints that are left are still just as usable as the day they went on there. And I'm just not going to waste paint if I can avoid it. Okay. This one is awfully shiny. This one a little bit shiny. This one's dry. Well, it's dry looking. I just rinsed my brush, a little bit of dabbing, and I'm going back into that same pink. I want a little bit more water. I just put my tip in because I want to do dot, dot, dot again. Dot, 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 rinse, and dab, dabbed. Now this that I'm working on as sort of my warm up. Yep, I have to warm up the same as anybody else. I'm putting just the tip in the water. This is not going to be designed for cutting out, so I'm not worried. And I'm going back into that color just with the tip, and I'm going to put these in there. Okay, rinse and dry and put my tip in, get some paint. Oh, this is way too dry. I can just tell. That's okay. I'll just leave my brush a little wetter. I didn't dab it. I just rolled it. But I just want this painting to be something that you can download and just put right in your journal as a decorated page. Hope you do. Nice. Just the tip in that paint and adding a little more towards the center. I'm not even seeing it. I do have a bit of a disadvantage. I'm putting the tip in the water and I'm going to pick up some more paint to make some more dot, dot, dots. I forget what I was telling you. But I do want this to be something that you can, as I say, just layer in a journal for a page. I just took a hair. Oh boy, that's a lot of water. Give it a dab. We don't need quite that much water. I think what I was telling you is I'm not so worried about creating shapes that you can cut out. I'm going to get a tip in and just a little bit here. All right, let's let those rest. The yellow ones are still, well, this one's not too bad. Let's grab some of that yellow. 3 little dots. If you're hearing a noise, my furnace just kicked on. It's cold today. I think the high is 23 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're centigrade, we're below 0. But I guess they say we should be more in the upper 20s, and we're in the lower 20s. I just picked up some more yellow paint. Dot, dot, dot. So we're not that far off of normal. And we had snow last night, about, I don't know, inch. Enough that they plowed a little bit. All right, I want to grab that weird orange that we had and give it a dot there. Grabbing a little more orange. A little bit there. Rinse. Little dab dab. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now I am not going to be doing every one of the pages that's going to be in my collection online. And not because I don't want you to see what I'm doing. I'm more than happy to have you see what I'm doing. But I need like 13 sheets minimum. Should be even more like 15. So, okay, these. I want some more petals. So I just rinsed my brush and I'm going into that pink color. It's really a magenta, but I'm using a lot of water with it. All right, I'm going to put a petal there, a petal there, petal there. Let's just see where that gets us. Now that I'm in the groove, I feel like I can do more than one little set of dots at a time. Okay, I'm just picking up some more paint. Put a petal here. That might do it. Rinse. And I just wanted that real transparent kind of look. Okay, I'm going into that pink and I'm just adding some to the bottoms of those petals again. Good. All right, I've got that pink on my brush and I'm just putting the tip in the paint. I want one here, I want one here, I want one here, I want one here. Rinse, dab, dab. Oh, and now I can hear the plow. Yeah, I'll tell you. You'd think I have it figured out how to not have the maximum amount of noise. But I'm not shutting off the furnace. I just put my tip in that paint. Dot, dot, dot. Rinse, dab, dab. Good. Grabbing that tip into the paint. And which ones did I just do? This one? Here? Here? I don't even know. Here? Let's add some more. Here? 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 Okay. Now the yellow ones, I'm happy with all but this one. So I put some, I rinsed my brush out. I didn't dab it. I think part of the problem of this one is that the paint was too heavy and there wasn't enough water. Okay, rinsing, dabbing. Okay, a little bit of that orange. I didn't rinse my brush or anything. Okay, good start. All right, now For the centers of the pink, I'm going into what's called, it's a brown, Primarite Genuine. It's apparently it's some kind of a gem or a stone or something, but it's brown. But you can see, this is why I picked Daniel Smith. Very transparent, very transparent. I didn't rinse my brush, and I'm going into quinacridone gold. And I'm putting that in the yellow ones. Okay, nice. All right, I'm gonna switch brushes. I am grabbing, I call this a Twiggy. It's also called a liner brush. It's a 2/0. I went into the clean water. I've got all these greens. I am going to grab some. I mean, I'm just going wherever there's some paint. And I'm going to go right off the edge. Like that. Whoop. A little more water, a little more paint. Let's do another one this way. Good. I'm going to do one from the top. Good. One this way. All right, let's see what we get with that. Now, I just rinsed it. I'm going back into that green paint. I'm getting the water off of the ferrule. That's the silver part. And I'm going to make some stems like this. Now, I am not worried about these leaves and these sprigs being identical to each other at all, but just getting some leaves on. We're getting there. I'm going to get just a little bit of water back into that green. Coming towards me, I'm not as handy. How are we doing? Can always add more. Rinse and dry. Now I'm going back to my number 6. And I'm just going to wet the tip, and I'm grabbing green paint. Like, you know, it's in that tray, so. And I'm going to start away from me, and I'm going to make almond shapes. Good. Grabbing some paint. Grabbing some paint. I did not go over the flower. Grabbing more paint. Good. I'm going to grab, I'm not even rinsing my brush, but I'm putting the tip in the water to get a little more color. And I've got a darker shade of green that I, for whatever reason, didn't really go into yet. And now I'm just going to add a little something. Like that. Rinse Dab, dab. Now, whoop, get the water off the ferrule. And I'm just going to kind of blend it in. Sometimes when I'm looking at this, because of the lights, all I see is a mirror. So if I look like I'm uncoordinated, that's part of my problem. Coffee's another part of my problem. Only I don't consider coffee a problem, but it does make my hands sometimes a little shaky. Okay, I like that. I am going to grab, now, I pretty much used these two greens to make all those stems. And then I said there was like a darker one that I used here. So I'm just going to pick up another green. I think this is called Cascade Green, yeah. It's a little bit more bluish. And I'm going to make the next set of leaves. No reason I can't move my paper a little bit. I'm going to start away from me. That's a weird shape. There, that's better. Just grabbed a little more paint. Grab a little more paint. Good. I'm putting my tip in the water, grabbing a little more paint. This second group of leaves is more teardrop shape. That's fine. I like it. I didn't tape, if you're wondering why I didn't tape this down like I do in some things, because I'm not flooding this with water. My paper is I just dipped this in water. Going back to that Cascade Green, and I'm adding just a blob. Whoops, I went in the wrong one. A blob of yellow. Get myself a new color again. I'm not flooding this with water, so I'm not worried about it wanting to bend or bow or any of that. Okay, here we go. Going back to a teardrop shape. Honestly, I'm just following my hand. I don't have a specific plan for these leaves. And you shouldn't either. Don't create for yourself an expectation that might be hard. Do you know what I mean? Just don't. You know, don't grab the Encyclopedia Britannica and find a particular leaf and then try to mimic it, and then you can't, and then you're upset. Don't do that to yourself. You know what a leaf kind of looks like, and the way it is in your mind is the way it's in probably a lot of people's minds. I've never made leaves and had someone say, well, why are there fish swimming all the way across? No, they look like leaves. Just relax in that. All right, I added just a little more pigment to the tray. I don't even know which green I picked up. I just picked up a green. You know, these leaves, they're going to change just with however the light is falling, however the shadows are falling. We don't know what's above these leaves. We don't know what's below these leaves. So they're just leaves. Okay. Now, is this the same as that? I don't know. But I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm grabbing a green that's called Serpentine Genuine. And I'm just plopping it into one of those green places that you saw. And I'm going to make these little, just like that, little almond shapes. And I'm even going to put some where there's not a stem. Why did I decide to do that? I don't know. Yeah, that's cute. I love it. I still have a lot of pigment on my brush. I'm going to grab a little more. Back to almonds. I'm going to go ahead and let it marry with that one. Grabbing a little pigment. Some people tell me that they just like to watch me paint. They have no interest in painting whatsoever. They just like to watch me paint. And that's great. You just enjoy. Okay. Now, on this one, rinsing my brush, I'm going straight into that Cascade Green. It's kind of that one. I'm turning again. And I'm just gonna, it's very watery, and that's fine. Nice. I'm just gonna let that dry, just like that. All right, good. I want another pink flower. I think I'm gonna put one right there. So I'm going back to the pink. My brush is clean. I'm just putting the tip in the paint. And 1, 2, 3. Rinse. And yeah, starting from scratch. I didn't make my circle center, but see, like I said, I'm kind of in the groove now. So I can just go ahead and paint. Now, I just put the tip in, add a little water down here. All right, I'm gonna let those, rest a minute. Let's get some more leaves going. I'm gonna grab that brush, this brush again, Twiggy, and I've got some green over here. And I can tell it's not a real transparent, but I'm just gonna use it. Make some more stems. Why not? Nice. I kind of like that it's a different color. Maybe up here. I gave that one a second little branch. I know. Who'd have thought? Let's see. This way. Nice. I'll give it one extra. Okay. Rinsing that. Going back to my number 6. Going back to these 3 colors. Rinse. Grabbing a green. Is there any green on here I haven't used? I don't think so. All right. Well, I'm going into the Cascade Green. Mixing it. Rinsing. Grabbed just one glob of yellow. And that's plenty of paint. I've got a lot of paint on my brush, but I'm just going to dab color and all there. I just gave it a good dab. And let's start with this one. And maybe I'll do some more little ones. What about that? Because I did not put stems. Because I wanted them to be, a little bit different. This might be a weed, right? Not that I've never had any in my gardens, said no one ever. Just little ovals. Sometimes there's one right next to the other, sometimes not. Going small like this, I definitely want more. More closer together. I feel like I've kind of moved into the dark, or maybe it got dark again outside. I've got 3 lamps on us. Yep. Very necessary. I love that. All right, turning it. I'll go with this one next. And I'm just going to use that same paint. Sometimes they're next to each other, sometimes they're not. But that one got a little weird. That's all right. Maybe a squirrel walked through and stepped on it. Or maybe a rabbit took a bite out of it and said, yeah, no. Never know. If it was a weed, chances are the rabbit wouldn't go for it. If it was part of the beautiful flowers, oh yeah, it'd be gone. It would be gone. Okay. I see, and now that we've got lots of snow, I'm gonna work on this one. I can see the tracks and how much activity is going on around me when I'm sleeping. Isn't that something? Isn't it beautiful? Now I've got a pond and I don't see any deer tracks there. I haven't seen deer tracks anywhere that I go, which is not a whole lot of walking out there. The pond is completely covered with snow. Now, is there ice under it? I don't know. But I do know that the geese right now are ignoring it. I've seen geese flying around, but I have not seen any geese near the water. And if they've got footprints by the water, I haven't seen it. And I can see the whole pond from my living room. But it is pretty amazing just how much the animals, nocturnal I'm sure, but I see bunny tracks and squirrel tracks. I didn't see any little handprints like like, what are those little bandit boys? Raccoons. All right, let's go back to this one. Pink, nice clean brush. Plenty of water. All right, rinse, dab, dab. Filling it in. Ooh, awful squared off, wasn't it? Okay, just the tip into that pink. Which one? This one? I guess. Okay, good. Now, leaving that one alone, this. I am going into a color that's called hematite, which is a black, gray kind of, and I'm mixing it with that brown that I already used in the centers. And this is a very transparent black. And I'm going right around those centers. I need a little bit of water because I obviously didn't activate that paint yet. So, and these mineral paints feels like they need just a little more water. Good. Picking up some more of that. And I'm going around the yellow ones as well. To me, that'll maybe Maybe I'm crazy, but I think it kind of makes it look like these are the same flowers, just a different color. Could be, right? Humor me. Okay, I'm liking this. I really am. All right. I want some more leaves. Grabbing the old twiggy. Rinse, rinse, rinse. Grabbing a couple of greens. I went into the Cascade. Okay. There. Where else? Here's another. That's a hair from my head. Okay. Not my brush shedding. Enough? All right. Well, fill those in and then we can always see. All right. Now, I'm going to go back to turning this and I'm going to do right there. And I'm grabbing this Serpentine Genuine. It's a different color. Oh, I didn't make stems. Well, I can make stems with this brush. Okay. Teardrops. That's what's falling out of my brush. Little teardrops. And I'm going to go right on top of that leaf. Just pretend like it's not even there. All right, same colors. I am having pretty much where the leaves are kind of heading in. These are heading to the side, but that's just the way that thing fell. My little vine, I guess. Now, if it looks like my colors are darker that I'm painting, that's because of a thing called shift. Watercolors shift. They get a little bit lighter when they dry. I don't care what kind of watercolors you're using. They just do. Okay. Hey, we're doing great. All right, this one. I am going to go into that brown that I can't say. What's it called? Paramite. Giving it that, and then we'll have to come back and put the hematite around it. I'm happy with the composition or, the overall look. I think what I'm going to do now, using my bigger brush, this number 6, I'm just mixing up all these green paints and kind of pushing them together into one of the wells. I've even got some green paint. Okay. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to make some leaves that are just behind these flowers. I'll show you what I mean. Like that. Yep. Over here. Nice. Another one. I'm going to go right on top. Now, I am not going to outline all of this with like black because, again, I'm wanting this to be more of a place in your journal that you can choose if you want to write on top, How we doing? Good. This one, I think I can do it. Okay. Nice. Good. All right. I am going to put some of the hematite color, which I still have some here. And if it bleeds up into the red a little bit, or pink, I don't care. It needs a little more color. Which one? This one. Yeah. There. I like it. Maybe I'm going to just add, I'm getting low on the green. That's good. Add a leaf here. And I think I'm going to add a leaf right here. Nice. Okay. I want to add some splatters, but I don't want them to be like big blobs. I just want a little atmosphere. So I think I'm going to grab my big fan brush, and I'm going to get it wet. And I'm just going to touch the yellow paint. I'm going to touch the water again. And let's see. I don't think I'm going to ruin it. You can be so tempted to overdo. Now, I do not want to add more paint or water, but because it's almost empty, it went finer. Okay, rinsing that fan brush. Nice. Grabbing a pen. The thing is, if I sign it, then it automatically will give it an up or a down, so I'm not going to sign it. Because I want someone to be able to use it if they want to use it in a tall journal, if they want to use it this way, however they want to use it. So I'm not going to sign this particular one, but I do advocate for signing. All right, well, if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and we're going to be working on some more watercolor real soon.